like I told you, we're here for the parents workshop, and it's all about parents today. It's not all about the kids, but it's about the parents, how they do handle their kids when they go wrong, and how to actually mentor them in a good way, not to cane them or do what mwana bwakonyeza si kujja kiboko n'okubanga eyabbye, but find a way of talking to a child so they can do something right, not to just talk to them in a bad way. So we may have a parent over here. He was actually inside right there. A lot was said. First and foremost, first say hi to the people, your names and what you do.
How are you? Hello, how are you, viewers? Yes.
Your names and what you do.
My name is Isaac. I'm an advocate, and I have 3 children in this school.
Which year and which year?
I have one in year 4, I have one in year 3, and one in year 1. Yes.
Why Galaxy? Is it because you have money? Is it because the school is good?
Galaxy. I've been raised personally different schools. I went to Namilyango College. I went to the what you would call the traditional wonderful schools. But I've come to learn that in spite of the quality of the schools I went to, some things were missing. And the international curriculum gives a better perspective to the development of a child. So I'm part of the board, the PTA for the school. So I'm quite involved in the development of the curriculum, and I do appreciate the difference between the national curriculum and the international curriculum. I also have a child in the national curriculum, and when I compare the development, the progress made in the development, I believe the international curriculum gives. So Galaxy is not on the high end in terms of expenses when you compare with some other international schools. It's in the middle there, and I find it's affordable to many Ugandan parents.
We're here at the Parents Workshop. Is it the first time it has been happening? You're on the board right now. So is it the first time you've been organizing it, or?
It happens, I think, about 3 times a year. Different topics are organized. This is, I would say, about the 4th or 5th time that it's being organized. This is the 2nd this year. Yes.
So among all the, the parents workshops you've done, which is more influential, which is more touching, you're like, okay, the parents stand up and they picked the message and they actually practiced the message?
I've been specifically touched by today's presentation, today's workshop. For one reason, that they have talked about the behavioral aspects of raising children, something that is very important to myself. I have 6 children, so it's quite important, the topics that have been, and they've been presented by very qualified doctors on those particular subjects. The one from the psychologist, and the other is I think a head from the pediatrics. We have hospital in Mulago Hospital. So I find today's very information. There's a lot of information that has been given today, and I find it very informative.
All right, thank you. So now we're talking about right now. You have kids, like you told me, they are 6. You as a parent right now, how do you go by when your child does something wrong? What is the one thing you first do? Because there's so many, you're an African right now,
yes.
You're in Uganda, you know what other parents do. Yes. They just cane, they just do what?
Yes.
What do you do when your child does something wrong? How do you help her or him?
To be honest, we have a different background from the parents today. And I'll tell you something, that even us as parents, we are developing skills for raising. What I did last year or the year before may not be what I'm doing now. I've learned recently that when you talk to the children in a group, like I said, 6, you talk to them in a group, you explain to them what they have done, you probably have better results. But of course, once in a while, you may lose it as a parent. Yeah. But we are learning as parents from other parents, from the internet now. We learn quite from talks such as these. We are learning on we have better soft skills on how to manage certain behavioral aspects related to children. So when my children do wrong, you could do different things. You could talk to them. You could, they've talked about timeout. We do all those things, sometimes without knowing, without having been taught. But, you know, also from education, there are things that you have learned on what should be done about children's behavior. And it's quite
You
different.
know, you're in an international school right now. Phones allowed, right?
Yes.
So do you think also phones should be allowed in our traditional schools?
I will tell you something that when I drive to the main entrance at the school here at Galaxy, in the cars you would see the children with earphones, you know, on their phones, listening to music. But as soon as the gate is open, you see all of them put their cell phones away. When you get into the school, you're not going to hear children making noise. You're not going to see any child with a phone using it. You're not going to see any indiscipline. And the fact that there are cameras throughout the entire school, it is very easy to pick up on bad behavior. That different from how we were raised. Do not bring radios to school, do not bring phones to school. That teaching children responsibility, how to be responsible, how to be responsible for their own actions, I think speaks volumes. That a child here will understand that you use a phone, and of course they need them to appreciate technological advancements, to appreciate research over the internet, for example. However, teaching a child that you can use the internet positively is more important than telling them do not use the internet. Teaching a child that a phone can be used for this purpose is more important than keeping the phone away from them, because once they go into the world, they're going to have the phones anyway. So I believe that the national schools, if the curriculum has been changed to appreciate behavioral aspects of raising children, that it's not give them the phones, but it's about what other aspects, other than teaching them academically, what other aspects of behavior can be taught to these children, incorporated into the curriculum, to be able to, for them to have phones but not misuse them. Now, this is what the international curriculum does. The child will not be very interested in the phone because the curriculum has a lot in it that takes the child from the phone to doing other interesting things.
One last question before you go, because I think we are running out of time.
Yes.
One last one.
Yes.
Would you force your child to do what they don't really love to do? Like, let's say, for example, because you know parents, they can just be like, I want you to become a doctor, yet the child doesn't want to become a doctor. What would you do? Would you do that by force, or it's a matter of just talking to your child?
I think I've learned, again from the international curriculum, I've learned that every child is good at something. I'm a lawyer, I told you, and a successful one as well, I believe. But I have come across people, not lawyers, that are very successful. People doing what you do that are very successful. And I have learned that I've learned that every child is good at something. Therefore, and not every successful person is a lawyer. So I have learned that if I encourage a child to do what they love to do, they probably may become more successful than I am. So I don't think you should force a child to decide. You should find out what the child is best at and encourage them to find, to promote that aspect in them.
Well, thank you so much. I would love to meet you one more time. I would love to meet you again, because whatever you said has been here, and I'm like, yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. Thank you very much. And nice.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to the best show. We're still here in Galaxy International. You heard it from the gentleman. If you're a parent out there, pick something for what he has said, because he said a lot, but you need to pick something.